nanotechnology is not at all a new subject or is not at all a new field, where it's the combination of sciences, engineering, and technology. Together, we call it as nanotechnology or nanoparticle research. But again, when we talk about nanoparticles, there are various types of nanoparticles available: chemically synthesized, physically synthesized, and biologically synthesized. As a biotechnologist or as a biomedical research scientist, I am more interested in the synthesis of biologically synthesized nanoparticles, which are from microorganisms and plant materials. But usually I use plant materials to be at the safer side with cost effectiveness. So this is what actually this slide should come later. Anyways, so my research is usually focusing on these particular points: natural product research, diabetes, oxidative stress, antioxidants, cardiovascular diseases, and finally nanoparticle research. Whatever I do, even I do with crude extracts, or I do with isolated compounds or nanoparticles, but finally at the end of the day, the applications will be into metabolic disorders, especially diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, hypertension, obesity, wound healing, and so on. So this is the exact example of the definition of nanotechnology. But in a layman language, it's obviously 1 to 100 nanometer in dimension at least, and it involves in developing materials or devices within that size. And here we need to understand the nanoparticles or the nanomaterials scientists or the researchers prepare or synthesize or manufacture or produce will have lots of stability when compared to the normal macromolecular structures. And he is the greatest physicist, Richard Feynman. So he was the one who has actually brought the concepts of nanotechnology. But there was plenty of room at the bottom to explore the possibilities and to explain about what exactly the nanotechnology and the system is all about. And as I just now mentioned, it's like old picture in a new gallery. This is what I made in my own words, saying that usually people say old wine in a new bottle. But here we are talking about the old topic, old, it's an old thing which is existing in the nature, but which is not at all new. Maybe the applications, what we are exploring with the advanced technologies are new, but the technology or the principle of nanoparticles or nanotechnology is still old. And nanotechnology was defined by a Japanese professor, Norio Taniguchi, in 1974, and he has mentioned that nanotechnology mainly consists of processing of separation. Usually when we do the things, when we synthesize the nanoparticles, it is a process. We separate the things, consolidate, and deformation the materials by one atom or by one molecules. And this is what exactly is mentioned in the previous slide. It's always separation, consolidation, and deformation. Excuse me. Can the others please put off your mic? Yeah, thank you. So, as mentioned just now in the previous slides, the nanotechnology has its applications in various fields. If you observe, the above one is food and agriculture, environment and energy, biotechnology, herbal medicine, textiles, medicine or health sciences, aerospace engineering, robotics, information technology, or whatever. As I've mentioned just now, you name whatever the field, nanotechnology exists. And most of the time, people say nanotechnology has lots of prominent applications. And also, sometimes people say the applications or the particle synthesis through nanotechnology is cost effective. But my main area of research is into herbal medicine, which I have highlighted here, and also medicine, health sciences, biotechnology, and food and agriculture. These are the different areas what usually I focus on. And this is actually the uh, basics about nanoparticles. These are the fundamental building blocks of nanotechnology, starting point for preparing nanostructured materials and devices, and their synthesis is an important research component. Why we say it's research, nanotechnology research is main component, or it's very important component for the current trends of research, because if you take medical sciences or health sciences or any other fields for that matter, the controlled release is one of the main important areas in especially medical fields or health sciences. And another thing is the targeted drug therapies, which is mainly accessible through nanotechnology and nano devices. That is why we always say the synthesis is an important research component, the synthesis of nanoparticles and their existence with stability. Here we have to note down stability is most important when we synthesize the nanoparticles through biological sources. Yeah, in this picture, you can observe there are two types of approaches to synthesize the nanoparticles from various sources. It can be from biological sources and other sources. Number one is bottom-up approach. Another one is top-down approach. Top-down approach means if, say, for example, you have a big rock and then you are separating it, you are bringing the macromolecule into micromolecular levels. So that is considered as top down approach. And bottom up, you are building up all the atoms into a molecule, but still the size should be within the nano range with the proper stability and also with good applications. Coming to biosynthesis of nanoparticles, why we call them as biosynthesis and why we call them as biogenic synthesis? Because, as mentioned just now, the nanoparticles can be synthesized chemically, can be synthesized physically, and also can be synthesized biologically, which means using biological molecules or using biological resources to reduce the metals, whatever the metals we use to make them as nanoparticles. So those are the biological macromolecules or biological nanoparticles. So here we learn about biosynthesis of nanoparticles, or we discuss about biosynthesis of nanoparticles. So why I choose medicinal plants? As I have mentioned earlier, the importance of any drug, say for example, the medicinal plants have lots of phytochemicals which are safe when compared to the synthetic drugs. Okay, hopefully it might not be a contradict statement since most of the chemists are here. So it is when compared to the synthetic drugs, natural products might contain less toxic effects or no side effects. So that is why plants play a vital role in human wellness. As we all know, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, and all other areas of medicines, complementary and alternative medicines, play a bigger role in ameliorating the complications of diseases such as diabetes, cancers, other metabolic disorders as well. And the main reason to use medicinal plants due to their less or no side effects when consumed. That is number one. And another one is cost effectiveness. Because when we get the materials from the nature, it is very much cost effective. But here we also need to understand if you want to go for an isolation or fractionation, certainly the cost will be increased. It is not as crude, as similar to the crude extracts. So here are some types of nanoparticles which usually we use: silver nanoparticles, copper nanoparticles, gold nanoparticles, and selenium nanoparticles. Not only these, I have just only given four types of nanoparticles just for your understanding. There are zinc oxide nanoparticles, which we also use to, to check the activity of alpha glucosidase inhibitors, which is an in vitro technique for anti-diabetic activities. And we also use silver nanoparticles. We also use gold nanoparticles. So we synthesize using the natural materials. So here another slide has been cut off. I'm not sure why it happened. So before this, there should be another slide, how exactly we prepare the nanoparticles. Anyways, let me take the chance to explain you how exactly the nanoparticle synthesis occurs using biological sources. First of all, we take any plant source materials, which is leaf, root, bark, stem, or whatever, even flowers, which contains various types of polyphenols, flavonoids, terpenoids, or whatever, the metabolites, plant metabolites. Then we make them into powder. Once we make them into powder, then we soak them, or you can directly mix with the metallic ions, and after the reaction it becomes nanoparticles. You can observe the change in color from white to dark color, from light to dark colors. So that is the physical conformation of forming or synthesis of nanoparticles. Then you have to characterize the nanoparticles through various techniques: UV visible spectroscopy or spectrophotometer, then XRD to confirm the structures and morphological structures or morphological sizes. You can confirm with the ACM and FTIR for various functional groups, and other techniques as well, even zeta potential or particle size analyzers, to confirm the sizes and the activities of the molecules. So you can also check the stability of the nanoparticles for various intervals. It's up to the researcher how long they want to check. Okay, that is about nanoparticles. Once prepare the nanoparticles, what we usually does. So once prepare the nanoparticles, we try to check into the in vivo systems and in vitro systems. First, we check in vitro. That is the usual process. In vitro means in the laboratory conditions for antimicrobial activity or for anti-diabetic activity or any other in vitro biological activities per se. And in vivo biological activities, usually they are done within the animal. And finally, we collect the tissues or blood samples to measure whatever the parameter we design in the research. But my whole research is always, towards oxidative stress and damage, tissue damages, and then the ameliorative effects of plant extracts and also the nanoparticles. So here, that's why I have mentioned this slide as oxidative stress. It always reflects an imbalance. It is like only imbalance. Whatever we have, if everything is balanced, the health is in a proper way. And also, if everything is balanced, the life is also very happy. If something is up and something is down, which means in a layman language, something is wrong in the system. It may be a cell, it may be a life, it may be an organism, or it may be an organ, whatever it may be, because there is some imbalance, which means some portion of the materials or some portion of the ingredients are more and some portion of the ingredients are less. That is why it is imbalanced. It is not imbalanced. I mean, it is not balanced. Once it is balanced, then which means the system is going in a proper way, which means if your system is imbalanced with a high amount of free radicals, which are reactive oxygen species or reactive nitrogen species or other free radicals, then you have toxic substances in the body, which means the cell is undergoing some dangerous effects from dangerous molecules or toxic molecules. If you give or we provide antioxidants, probably with the effect or efficacy of the nanoparticles or antioxidants, the damage may get ameliorated by the nanoparticles we give or by the antioxidants we give. Then it becomes neutralized, which means it balances. It is no more imbalance. So that is the main thing we do. So this is how it looks like, antioxidants and pro-oxidants. So an imbalance favoring pro-oxidants or disfavoring antioxidants. This is how usually when pro-oxidants are more, and certainly the stress will be high in the cells. You can observe different types of pictures here. So these are different types of, see, when you observe the equilibrium on the top of the picture, the right side of the frame, if you observe the antioxidants and the ROS, if they are balanced, it is well balanced. If the ROS is more, then oxidative stress increased. If ROS is furthermore, oxidative stress increases. If you take from down, then it is clearly understood that the amount of antioxidants we provide, the amount of good health we are providing to the cells. And nanoparticles with their biological activities. Okay, this is what we have done almost 7 years back. So we have synthesized the nanoparticles using leaf extract, and then we have checked for antimicrobial activities. So there we have got very good results with the nanoparticles. If you observe, and later on we were hypothesizing this particular 3 different mechanisms of actions, which is nanoparticle accumulation into microbial cell. What does it do? So this is what exactly we need to understand. If you observe now, most of the journals as well, if we just send nanoparticles or whatever, even plant extracts and antimicrobial activity, none of the journals will take up that. If we study the mechanism of action, then there might be some worth, at least it goes for review. So then we have hypothesized 3 different types of microbial cell damage and how the lysis will occur. Interaction of nanoparticles with enzymes, inhibition of signal transduction, thereby lysis may occur. And also second pathway or second hypothesis was interaction of silver nanoparticles in gram-negative bacteria, dephosphorylation of peptides of tyrosine residues, finally lysis. an interaction of silver nanoparticles with the cell walls. So these may produce the free radicals towards the bacterial cell, thereby lysis happens. So another example in the medicine and health sciences, usually the nanotechnology is used in the diagnostics, drug delivery, and tissue engineering. Some of my known laboratories or collaborators, they are working on tissue engineering. Uh, I'm yet to reach that particular stage, since the facilities also need to be there. So the institute which we are working, we are not mainly focusing on tissue engineering. So drug delivery can be done, and diagnostics. Even some of the doctors whom we work, they use nanoparticles and nanoparticle doped. Sometimes nanoparticles can be doped with different types of materials, and then they use for various types of diagnosis of different diseases. And this is what uh, I have mentioned in my article in 2014 with current drug metabolism, with various applications of nanotechnology towards diabetes. This article is, this article only describes about the applications of nanotechnology in diabetes treatment. So how exactly, what are the different aspects and what are the different, molecules or different materials can be used as the treatment for diabetes? Nanotubes, artificial pancreas, nanopumps, microspheres, nanoshells, quantum dots, layer by layer methods, colorants, and smart tattoos. So even for smart tattoos, if you observe the next picture, this is what even I have hypothesized. Just I was just thinking of a particular object and then prepare this. If you observe, now we have smartwatches everywhere, and most of the advanced countries and most of the young generation, they are using smartwatches, to monitor their sleep or to monitor their whatever metabolic rates, whatever. So this is similar to that application. So where an injector sensors are injected using a less invasive technology, and nano tattoos are inserted under the skin, and this can be the readings can be measured by an optical reader. So this is how we have hypothesized, and then halfway we went to the production as well, but somehow it has been uh, stopped halfway due to the budget limitations. So hopefully we will start it again. And nanotechnology approaches for targeted delivery. This is just for the viewers. I've just mentioned, since this is another disease which depicts the neurological disorders and the ameliorations with polymeric nanotherapeutics. So if you observe, they have been surface functionalized and then effectively localized and used for the different types of neurodegenerative disorders. So, which means whatever the disease we name, even our group works on anti-cancer activities of medicinal plants and anti-cancer activities of nanoparticles using medicinal plants. So we do with crude extracts, we do with isolates, and we also do with the nanoparticles. So far, if you have anything, you can just put the questions in the chat box. So if you observe, okay, so far these are the different types of plants we have used for synthesize the nanoparticles. So most of them are Malaysian plants, and some of them are from India as well. And we also work on different types of honeys. Yeah, even this one, these slides, I'm not very sure. After stop sharing the screen, few slides have gone up and down. So this should not be the slide here. Anyways, so these are our few works. Okay, this was an article we studied about Eurochima longifolia, which is also called as Malaysian ginseng. So which we were successful in synthesizing the silver nanoparticles within the range, and we have checked for the stability. The stability was good, and also the anti-cancer activity, because this was the designed biological activity for these particular nanoparticles. So even some of the works been collaborated with one of the organizations from India. And this is just a simple review. Yeah, this is what I was mentioning about current drug metabolism, where I have clearly described about recent advances in nanotechnology based on diagnosis and treatments of diabetes, where we have clearly mentioned, and also some of the hypothetically mentioned designs are explained in this particular paper. And this one, because why I want to show these things, this is for anti-cancer activity, and this one is general one, diabetes, and this is for agriculture. As you remember my first few slides, I've mentioned that the nanoparticles and their applications are in very wide variety of or wide range of fields, starting from biological sciences, physical sciences, chemical sciences, engineering, architecture, even solar systems or whatever, various types of engineering backgrounds. So the nanotechnology is applied. So this is related to agriculture. We have checked the antifungal and also the growth and biochemical parameters in rice and also maize, along with peanut. So this was a review article which we have clearly depicted the exact mechanisms of anti-cancer agents, how exactly the nanoparticles, act through different pathways, through apoptosis or through anti-inflammatory or other COX pathways. Yeah. So in this picture, you can observe. I'm not sure one of the slides have been lost. So here you can clearly observe plant material with various functional groups, which may be, secondary metabolites, polyphenols, flavonoids, terpenoids, or whatever. They try to reduce the silver ions, which we use silver here, and then finally form the bioreduced nanoparticles. So these particular bioreduced nanoparticle, which you can observe in the center part of the slide, and then you can observe different types of applications: antibacterial activity, antifungal, antioxidant, anti-diabetic, and anti-tumor activity, which is also called as anti-cancer activity. Yeah, this slide which I was talking about, this slide has to be on the top. Anyways, still we have this slide here. So if you observe, these are various types of plant materials I have used, and we combine them with the metal salts. So you can observe the silver nanoparticles. This is just physically we confirm that changing the color may have nanoparticles. But anyways, if you observe here, this is with UV, XRD, FTIR, SEM or TEM, particle size differentiators. So these are all the characterizations we need to do to confirm whether the nanoparticles are in certain shape, certain size, or whether they have stability, they are stable or not. These are the things we should confirm with the characterization once we synthesize the nanoparticles using any kind of metal salts. It is not only silver nitrate, it can be orium chloride or it can be anything else, which I have shown, even zinc oxide nanoparticles. So it depends on the design of the experiment, what the researcher or what the principal investigator wants to continue with or wants to explore with. And finally, we can go for biomedical applications or biological applications, we can say, which can be anti-diabetic, antimicrobial, anti-cancer, or whatever. And we know nanotechnology will change the world. It's time to think about how. Get ready for your nano future. This is from Alan Leo, MIT, a great researcher. And this is my conclusion for the day. Nanotechnology play an important role, not only for human health, but it ameliorates the complications. Say, for example, if you take diabetes, because most of the times you may think I'm using the word diabetes many times because that's my core research. So diabetes and its complications, whether it can be retinopathy, nephropathy, neuropathy, or whatever. So it also helps in ameliorating the complications of a particular disease, either diabetes or cardiovascular diseases or hypertension or whatever. But it should be in such a way that the nanoparticles has all the types of functional groups, and also it has the ability to possess that particular biological activity for the treatment. So these are my old photos since 2017-18 photos, and these are all my collaborators across the world, but some of them are missing here. So that's all. So this is apart from different awards, I got this one, which is highly memorable from Reva University, where I'm also an alumni. So you can see all my teachers there. Thank you so much.